And so began my journey into printing and construction of the Sirius 747 Mark II. Rance is a really good 3D modeller, and he did some lovely parts. He even had all the plates planned out for you. So I was printing plate after plate, and of course I was also running out of filament during the process. And sometimes I even got very excited. Once I had all the parts printed, laid them out on the table to see what I was involved in, ordered all the hardware bits and pieces independently, which never ever showed up. So I had to go and start scrounging my own. But before we get into that, here's the instructions you get with it. Before we go any further, I thought it's best I go through the instructions with you. Now, Rance provides you with a link to a site where you can download these instructions. They're in full colour. Mine are not, because I don't have a colour printer at the moment. But basic introduction, size, bits and pieces, all the features, materials you need for the build of the actual blaster itself, the body, then materials you'll need for the dual stage, the pusher, the motors, so on and so forth. Then a basic overview of the thing, you know, mag release, where all bits and pieces are. Now in this one, he's chose to go for an on-off button, which acts like a cocking slide. There's a little button on-off switch in there that this pushes against. But I thought he might have gone for a rev trigger, but maybe it's because of the way he's done these covers. Who knows? But anyway, that could easily be done on your own time. So, a wiring guide. Now, no colour printer, I had to remember, so I wrote the different colours for the different wires. And then there's some links for different things, push button switch, gear motor, so on and so forth. Get everything you need. Then the instructions just start, and they're pretty basic like this, straightforward, all colour. Put the flat ears, tells you where to do. I had no problems with this. There's only one or two little spots that I came across that were a little bit confusing, which I'll tell you about when we get to them. But this is basically for the flywheels. And again, for the flywheels in the beginning of the housing for the magazine and where the pusher goes. Pusher is a separate construct. I think the instructions at the back of this, or you can download it when you get the actual pusher. Pretty straightforward. I just took the one out of beauty I'm using because I don't want to waste time printing another one. All the things you need. It tells you everywhere you need a spring, right? Now that's been my big problem, getting springs. I'm not prepared to mail order again and not get anything, so I'm just sourcing things what I can find locally. Now these clips, which are the adjustment for the buttstock, are held in by 3mm rods. He calls them cylinder pins. Couldn't get any of them, so I'm just using, I keep everything I break, and I got lots of 3mm drill bits in there broken, so I just use the shaft off them. Straightforward. Now, here's your cover that goes on the top of the buttstock. For some reason he's done two pieces, not quite sure. I think it's just to give the extension to cover this bit, so your cheek's not resting on there. But that's your choice, however you want to do it. So an optional piece, which is quite nice. Then it's just basically, as you go through, it tells you where to put all your brass inserts. I've already done that in one go, getting ready to get things up. Again, here's a spring here that goes under this. There's two springs, one under each side of this clip. I haven't got anything there yet, that's why it's a bit tight, but I've just realised I've got an awful lot of broken fountain pens around, and I should find a spring in one of them that'll fit. Right, so the body of the blaster, the rear support for the sight, the handle at the front. Now here's the first bit that is a bit confusing. This little part here, which is this orange part in here, it's supposed to have a hole through it that goes up to screw in to the muzzle, stops the muzzle coming out. Now mine's pretty tight fit, so I'm not worried about it. And if you see here on this drawing, you can see where he's got this hole that's supposed to go up and hold the muzzle in place. It's not in the part. There is no other part with a hole in it in the files unless he's changed it recently. But it doesn't seem to be an issue. If this thing does start falling out, I'll just put a screw in straight through the front. Doesn't really worry me. So that was for that that bit. I forget what he calls it. Pivot point, maybe, I don't know. So anyway, going on, there's your scar, and all you got to do is put your I'll just get it out and show you. So there's your barrel there, and the scar just sits in. You just screw the bearings in, and they still spin fine. One of the things that is a little bit vague, I can't see which way they're supposed to be in, whether they have the flange out or the flange in. It's a very small drawing, but they seem to spin either way, and that just has a couple of notches on it that cause it to lock into the back of the barrel. There you go. So that goes into the body. You've got your internal parts here. Now here's another area that's a bit tricky. These two parts for the switch, there's an inner and out, and they screw together from the outside, but what you got to do is flex this top bar to get one of them in. So be very careful you don't snap that. Alright, so that's that one. And then it's just the rest. This is just the dual magazine release, which is pretty cool. You can pull that down to magazine release, or you can push that back for the magazine to release, as you see. Again, wrong spring, I've got to sort that out. All exploded cutaway diagrams to show you what's going on. Again, just building it bit by bit. Right, the trigger housing is quite notable. It's two sandwich halves that click together perfectly, really nicely, and then actually slot in to the whole pistol grip. They just drop in. And what he's done, he's given you 4 trigger options with different lengths. So when you're fitting it, getting the switch to work properly. So you've got 12, 8 and 6mm trigger options. There's a little drawing there. So that's really nice, and it fits in perfectly. It's I'm amazed at how good his work is. Then you got putting the inserts in, we're all over the trigger bit, and putting that all together with the grips. Then you're joining the body, and things start to go quick. Then slide in the trigger group, attach the pusher, which I did print one of. I didn't realise it was just amongst everything else. So here's the pusher I printed, and it's pretty compact, as you can see. I'm just trying to remember which way it goes. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So it's very, very small little thing, and it sits just there. Oh, sorry, sits just there. Yeah, just behind the magazine. Yep. So as you can see, I've already got the actual original I got ages ago with one of the other blasters he sent me. So screws just to hold it together, straightforward. Drop the whole motor unit, pusher unit in, which is a brilliant idea. I'm going to have to steal that from him. You can put in a belt loop. He's even given you a recess for a 4mm lock nut. Putting the brass inserts in the butt. I did all the brass inserts at one go because I just didn't want to be turning a soldering iron on and off continually. It even provides you a little wall to keep the batteries separate and the wires. And he's done that also on the functioning trigger group. There's little plates here, simply screwed on the outside to hold the wires underneath so they don't get in the way, which is a nice little touch. Again, cylinder pin here at the front, so this whole thing pivots. Again, I've just used a 4mm bolt, because that's what I had around. Screwed straight into the plastic, so I don't have to worry about that. And you put your optional head on. So after all this is built, I actually printed this. I could just screw it on from the top. And he gives you another one for the other side as well. And it's just installing the battery, getting it running. Now I am going to put some motors in this and wire it up and get it shooting. I'm going to use whatever motors I've got lying around, which I've got quite a few from old Nerf builds. I'll just rig something up to get it shooting. I'll probably get it 1 or 2 shots out of it, and then I'll never touch it again. So basically that's an overview of the Sirius 747 Mark II. I know that's its name because I'm reading it there. And your barrel with your scar in. Never had a scar before. Just slides in. Doesn't even seem to matter which way it sits. And that goes down like that. Oh, as long as that's not there. There we go. So first thing I'm going to do is find some springs for this, get that switch working. Now this latch is quite easy to take out because it's a bridge that fits across there. So you just sort of flex it, you can get it in, and then underneath is where the springs go. So I'm going to try and find some springs for that now, get that done, and put on the other latch on the other side, because there's the last two things before the body's done. And then I'll start the paint. So back soon. Right guys, back. It's a few minutes later, about 15. And what I've found is, I bought a bulk pack of these cheap mechanical pens. And the reason they were cheap is because once the lead's used in them, you can't replace it because it's the wrong diameter. So, but being spring loaded, they must have a spring in there, and they do. A beautiful little spring in my magnetic tray here. And they fit perfectly into these holes in the back of this piece once I filled them with epoxy paint, because I drilled them too big because I thought I'd need a bigger spring. But I've had to do that and that. So when that dries, I'll be able to put this in, and I've got my latch done, and it's virtually finished. Now, also one thing I did use, the actual tube that holds the lead in a mechanical pencil was perfect for pushing the putty down, and also left a little protrusion which the spring will use as a guide, and I'll just fit around it. So I'm pretty happy about that. So when that putty's dry, I'll put those springs in. Right, good morning guys. Next day, I just come out, just fitted those springs. Nice little springy effect. The thing with the springs at the bottom of the base, it tends to tip a bit, but I think it'll work fine. So I'm just going to put this thing back together. Oh no, okay. Alright, goes there. Goes in there. Just fill it on the other side. Oh, feel that bang fault click. He's done really good on this. This thing is great. I love it. Absolutely love it. Okay, now it's time for a paint job. So now it's time for a paint job. I will try and run through all the steps. I'm just going to do the same thing as I always do, just different colours. I'm really leaning towards the cyberpunk, but except instead of having these bits as red, maybe some other closer tone to the cream I'll have up here. I'm not quite sure yet. Anyway, next time guys, see ya.